Talking Music with Big Andy. This week, the new Jacobin Club, talking music with me, Big Andy. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us. I have with me two members of the band, the new Jacobin Club. I have the Horde and Nagini. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Very welcome.
I became aware of you a few years ago now through my dabbling and introduction into the world of steampunk, and I came across a few bands at the time, and yours was one of the bands that I came across that I kind of like marked up as being, I really like this band, and so sort of when I started doing this podcast, I was writing lists down of bands that it was either following or knew and that sort of thing, and I've worked my way through the list, and I've just got to you guys. So thank you for coming on the show. Now you're from Saskatoon in Canada, is that right?
Yes, very good. Yeah. Saskatoon is much more specific than just saying Canada. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no. I like to try and do some research.
Yeah.
Whereabouts is Saskatoon? Because I've never been to Canada, but I know roughly where some of the places are.
It's as the most landlocked part of Canada. If you put your finger right in the middle of the largest landmass, that you're probably putting it right close to us.
All right. Okay. Most of the people I know come from the east coast.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah. Around
Toronto is a big city, and Vancouver, but we're kind of between.
No, I know some people who live in Halifax and Prince Edward Island, around that sort of way.
Oh yeah, gorgeous country for sure. Far away.
Okay, so I read that you started originally as a three-piece punk band in the 90s. Is that right?
That's right. We started in 1995. So I feel like we've been around a lot longer than some of our scene contemporaries.
True.
That's how we started. I mean, when you say it started as a punk band, that was kind of our scene. I mean, those are the types of shows we're playing. But the direction of the music it's changed in terms of who's joined the band since then.
Exactly.
But we play songs from in fact, we just recorded 2 more songs from the new album that were written in the 90s, and they sit well with what we do.
They absolutely hold up. It's really enjoyable, as I wasn't part of the band in the 90s, but coming back and doing that music I really enjoy it. I
just like to point out that there has the band. It's not like the band has been several different bands. It always has been New Jacobin Club, and always had a similar kind of artistic. The artistic vision it's expanded over the years, but it's not like we haven't been jumping any trends or bandwagons or anything like that. I kind of feel like we've been driving our own bandwagon for a long time, and other people have kind of followed us. So
how would you describe what you do?
How I do? It's I describe it as hard rock and costume, theatrical hard rock.
Right.
It depends it depends who's asking, to be seriously honest.
There's a theme to the music, and it always has been. We've always kind of had this at one time we took it very seriously, the idea of our theatrical personas, and that we were these kind of ancient beings that have been on Earth for thousands of years, watching humanity do terrible things and kind of stirring the pot ourselves. And we used to our names used to refer to kind of ancient Christian mythology and Babylonian mythology and things like that. But we also sing, like, we have entire albums about medieval, strife in the medieval era, and we have an album about the end of the world and a cult that brings about the events of the Book of Revelations, and we have all sorts of kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of the steampunk sort of angle of kind of fantasy storytelling. And
absolutely,
and I think our music is really more about, it's shaped based on the stories we're telling more so than, like she said, it's hard rock. In the end of the day, it is. We're not reinventing the wheel, but we are putting some really weird stuff around that wheel.
Some unique elements into it as well than other bands.
It's very much hard rock, and the theatrical elements you use, most of the time they seem very based in sort of like, as you say, in ancient mythology or mythology, and with a more than a hint of horror about them.
Yes, very much so.
Right on. Good for you. Yes,
We were big horror fans. We've
huge.
I think we even have a song that name drops Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. So we have actually. I used to write. I couldn't stop writing songs about Hammer horror movies for a while, like 15, 20 years ago. That's all I was obsessed with, right? So,
it works so well for a band and up on a stage, especially performing with those themes.
And the flamboyant kind of turn of the century Gothic kind of look, and I always really liked that. And I think from the very beginning, I think the very first time the band even played on stage, we said, or even back then, even though people would look at us and say, well, you're kind of like a Gothic or horror punk band or something, we were already wearing like vests and ties and like things like that weren't quite the kind of same thing that bands like the Misfits used to wear or whatever. So we were already kind of not quite doing the same thing.
Right. And imagine where we started, landlocked Canada, right? And before the internet was proliferated, we only had limited information and a lot of times we had to make our own stuff. In fact, we still do.
It's interesting.
So it created a unique sound and portrayal.
We were looked at as very weird for a long time. Even in our hometown. You remember? Remember? Okay, so Marilyn Manson kind of rose to fame in the 90s, and if you recall, during when the Columbine shootings happened, Marilyn Manson was put up as like, look at this guy, this is the stuff they listen to. And in our hometown, they ran a picture of us in the paper. That's how kind of weird and backwards our part of the country was. But they ran a picture of me.
It's weird. The weird thing is that it's kind of like every time there's a new kind of a wave of this kind of music, people will think it's something new. But then you go back to, you look at how long people like Alice Cooper have been doing this sort of thing.
Right, and I point that out all the time. And I love Alice Cooper.
Oh my gosh.
It's very important to us. Alice Cooper, I think.
It's also the other band. There are two other bands that came to mind when I watched some of your live stuff. Two other bands that came to mind were Gua.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit more extreme. They're a bit more extreme. And also the Cramps.
Oh, the Cramps, yes.
Yeah.
Love the Cramps.
Oh, compliment.
Yep. Stick out your can. Here comes the garbage man. That's my favorite lyric of all time.
It's the reason it reminded me of that was because of the fact that it was like, I don't know, you have this kind of growling vocal that I really like.
Thank you.
It really works well with the image and everything like that. It's fantastic. It's very good.
I've never heard anyone make a comparison to the Cramps before, but that's really flattering. I really like hearing that, because there is a undercurrent of kind of garage rock in everything we do, and I came from a kind of a garage rock, punk garage kind of background. Even before New Jacobin Club, that was the type of bands that I played. I was part of that scene. I did surf rock and some rockabilly. So that definitely is not out of the wheelhouse for me. That's definitely.
And I believe that element keeps us grounded, which is really important. As much as we are entertainers on stage, we definitely want to also have a give and take with the audience. We're not above the audience.
Yeah, we don't.
We're all in it together.
I think we've over the years kind of where some bands will get really progressive and really complex, and that's cool, and it's some amazing stuff. We have the instrumentation ability to get really complex, but we still default to 3-chord songs with a cool chorus. At least that's what I like to do. And that's what like she said, that's what keeps us grounded. I think so. Is that our garage rock roots, so yeah.
So at the moment, I've got this right, you're a 6-piece band. Is that right?
That's correct. Have been for a long time now.
Yeah. So your first album, I got down here that you recorded it and released it in 98, 99, A Lesson in Morality.
Yes. Yeah. That was only 4 songs, but that was our first publicly released thing. Yes.
Oh, okay. It was only 4 songs. I've got to admit that there, when I first started listening to your stuff, I put my name down on your mailing list, and I managed to, I don't know how, but I managed to get 2 lots of stuff from you at one point. I got 2 copies of this sampler album.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's put out in the UK here. Yeah.
Yes.
I gave one of them to my eldest son, he really loves.
Oh, great.
I also got these postcards.
Oh.
That's awesome.
That one, and on the back of that one, you actually sent me a plectrum as well, which was really cool.
Oh yes.
Oh, lovely.
Nice. We don't have any more of those.
But it was really cool getting that through the post. It was just a really nice sort of like thing to get, and I'd like to say thank you. I couldn't say it.
If anyone's watching this, we take our fan club extremely seriously because we're so far away from all of you.
Yes.
I mean, the vast majority of our fans are in the UK, and there are more now in the States than there ever have been before since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we try very hard to be able to do stuff like that. Like we have frequent giveaways, or if someone would like one, I always like to sign off some emails with, if there's anything we can do for you, let us know, because we know we can't be there for you on stage, and it's really tough, and we want to be able to maintain a relationship with the fan base, because
very important.
As an independent band for over 20 years, for almost 25 years, our fan base now does actually financially support us, and I would never accept don't think I would never accept anything else at this point in the band's history, because we have such complete control over everything we do, and we know that our fans are going to support it or buy the album or whatever. So we take it very seriously. So join our fan mailing list and find out what we're doing. And
let's have a look at a clip from one of their videos. This podcast is really for looking at independent bands that are trying to do everything as far as they can on their own and haven't been signed to big labels. A few of them have now actually been signed, but not to major labels. They've been signed to more independent labels, that sort of thing. But
we've been signed a couple. We've had a couple different agreements and distribution agreements. Our first release was an American label. We had a deal with. So. Yeah,
I mean, you've always been an independent band as such, and a lot of the bands I've been talking to have only been doing this for a couple of years, 5 years at most, that sort of thing. So, what would you say has been the thing that has kept you being able to carry on doing this for so long? because as an independent band, financing a lot of stuff yourself and doing everything yourself, it can sometimes get incredibly difficult to carry on.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. I think our longevity actually, at least in Canada, helped us financially, because there came a certain point where I would say by around 2009, 2010, when we had a really large group, we had 12 people on stage, and we were touring, and we were doing fairly well financially. We were doing well. We did not need a label. We had an agreement at the time with a distributor, but I think we were fortunate that our notoriety at the time, and there's a big story about why we had this reputation, helped basically we were a live band, right?
I was just about to say that.
And so our money was generated from playing live,
from touring.
And since then something happened, and that thing that happened was people, primarily in the UK, discovered us with the first wave of these steampunk, right? And we got associated with that, I think largely because of one album and a video we had was very steampunk looking. And it was not something that we deliberately did, but it was something that was discovered. And since then, we've embraced the idea of being very open and accessible to fans. And we have started to, instead of financially relying on concerts, which is limiting because we're far away here. We have been to the UK, but it's limiting for us here to play. We've started actually being able to rely on the money that comes in from album sales now not for the first time, but for the last, I'd say since 2014, for sure. When our last album came out, we've been able to count on that and rely on that to be able to do things.
Right. So, and I think connecting with so many in the UK has also given us an opportunity to concentrate on reaching out through emails, reaching out through produced albums and such, rather than live. So it kind of made us sort of dovetail nicely with the support we've been getting from the UK to move more to that kind of product, which has been really, really interesting.
We've been very careful to make sure that everything we do is accessible to people overseas, right? So
it's important. It's so important.
Yeah, like if people,
so lovely.
We have people order stuff from the web store all the time, and then we get an email after that says, I don't think this shipping is going to cover it to the UK. Is there any extra shipping charge? And we're like, no, there isn't. We've figured it out. Just go for it.
So lovely.
Right? So we get emails like that all the time, and we're like, no, we fully we sell. We like, I would say like 90% of our packages go, like our web store stuff goes overseas, and a tiny little bit gets sold here in Canada. So people in Canada here know who we are. They don't need to like. They don't need to find us online and order stuff. So
where we're from, the population's pretty small, so everyone, people come out, especially to see us when
we do play here. It's big. When we play in our home region, we do very well, but we can't overdo it because the population out here is so slim. So once or twice a year we might play in our area, and then we go a little further west where there's some bigger cities.
You came over here in 2016. You came over here originally, was that a full tour, or was it
2 weeks?
All right.
We can get a lot done in Canada in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks over there it was easy because everything's so close.
Compared, absolutely.
Amazing. Did you get to do any festivals? Because I could see your music going really well at festivals.
That's how we got out there. We were invited to headline this Masquerade Ball at a steampunk festival, and so that was the catalyst for the tour. And then what happened was, once we put the word out that we were coming over, we got far more concert opportunities than we could possibly take or fit into the time frame.
So lovely.
So we're very fortunate. We don't for a second take that for granted.
Absolutely.
Our fan base over there has a lot of industry people in it, and we wish we could have done everything that was offered, and we wish we could have taken every concert that was, and a couple other festivals wanted us to, but it just had to line up with our plans, right? So
that's fair. That's reasonable.
I'm making a face because it was just so lovely. Our time over there was so lovely, and then it was amazing meeting people that we had so much in common.
Yeah.
And just because of the music we listened to and the warmth of the folks in the UK was just like, oh,
Nice.
I loved it.
We felt like we were actually, I said, we felt like we came home to a place that we forgot we ever knew when we were touring there. It was just amazing.
No lie, we're not just saying
we're
that.
Not just saying
talked
that.
about it amongst ourselves.
We talk about this all the time. How we'll do anything to get back there.
Yeah, it was a rare opportunity for sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing you come back, actually, because I'd like to come and see you live. I didn't get a chance to do that then. Talking about, this sampler that I got, the track that's on there, which is Angel.
Angel 2014.
2014. Yeah.
Roman numerals.
Roman numerals. My head doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I can't spell numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Angel 2014. It's an excellent track, and I really like it. I mean, that was, as I say, that was the thing. I listened to the whole sampler, and I sort of like, when I got to that track at the end, I thought, why is that right at the end? Why isn't that right at the beginning? It's just,
I don't know. Well, they put out 4 volumes of that. That's the sampler, and the volume that we're on, our song is actually at the beginning.
Oh,
interesting
right.
to say that. Yeah. Maybe that's why they did it. I have no idea. So there's another, because there's a steampunk volume 1, 2, 3, 4. There might be 5. And I think we're on volume 2, and ours is the first song. So the CD you have is the industry sampler of the whole series, right? So there's a whole series of those. It's like, you remember like the Nuggets, collections, whatever. I think that was the point of that, was the owner of that label really wanted to come out with his own definitive series of steampunk collections, and that is just a sampler that gives you a few songs from each volume. So yeah.
No, but I really love that song, and where do you get your ideas for the songs? Where do they come? Is it just out of your imagination? Is it actually something that is it fed into by things that you see, read, whatever?
Yeah, both. I mean, aside from, like I was saying, like I really was obsessed with Hammer horror films a while. I mean, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, but more recently, I mean, like our 2010 album is about when some of it is based on things that are happening in the world today, and then I take and we stick it into our own world. The This Treason album was about when they found what they thought were the remains of Sir Hugh Despenser, right, who was the lover of King Edward II, and he was publicly executed and torn apart and all this stuff. And I read about him, and I thought, wow, this would be a gritty horror drama, and so I wrote this concept album around it, and each song is written from the point of view of a different historical or quasi-historical figure in the tale of the end of King Edward II. And it was interesting because that's the album that everyone noticed. We have other albums that did way better in Canada, but that's the one everyone noticed overseas. And to the point where I talked to 2 not one, but 2 historical fiction authors, one of who wrote kind of what's considered the definitive historical fiction of that story, and another one who is working on one. And they were both quick to point out that that's not really how it happened. I'm like, oh, I know. I'm well aware of that.
To make a good story.
That's the thing with fiction.
I was smiling when you asked that question because I find that fascinating with what Horde wrote on that album. These finding inspiration from these dramatic historical times in Europe was I learned. I was like, there's one this actually is so interesting. Your take on
there's
this.
one song on there that's not has nothing to do with England or King Edward II, but we stuck it in there. Well, Bishop and the Executioner.
Oh yeah,
it's a Polish legend of two brothers, architects that built St. Mary's Cathedral, and they were in competition, and they each were in charge of one of the two bell towers, and each one of them wanted their tower to be bigger and taller and more ornate. And in the end, one brother killed the other brother, and at the time they had no prison yet or whatever, they were building it. They imprisoned the murdering brother in the bottom of the tower the night before he was going to be executed, and then the next day they executed him, and the knife that he killed his brother with is hanging in the pavilion hall in the square of Krakow, and they say it's still hanging up there. I couldn't find it when I was there. I have family there, so but that story just fascinated me. But beyond that, the bishop in the tower was kidnapped one night and driven around town blindfolded with a bag on his head and taken to what he said was a palace of some sort. But the nobleman who lived there had removed all the family crests, and then he asked him to perform last rites on his daughter, because his daughter was pregnant with what he says is the baby of a heathen or something, or maybe a commoner or something. And so he did this, and then they killed her right in front of him. And then they gave poison to both him and the executioner, except he didn't drink it. He spilled it on himself. They drove him back to the cathedral, it took him, he said, took an hour to get back to the cathedral, dumped him off there. He lived to tell the tale, but no one knew who this nobleman was.
Wow.
Here's the thing though. In 2008, they found a skeleton of a 14-year-old girl in a wall, headless, across the street from the cathedral.
Way, you didn't.
Wow.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Like, that's amazing. So if the story's true, this guy was kidnapped. They put the bag on his head and they drove him around Krakow for like an hour and then just went across the street. Right? Is that cool?
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So that's the thing that inspires me. So there's a long story.
Yes.
Yeah. No. That's really cool. That's quite amazing.
And that song is like I would hesitate to say I even sing it. There's a singing part at the end, but it's this rambling tale, right?
Yep.
Like this bishop is just rambling, telling you the story of this, And I think we have a live video of it that's superb. I think it was recorded in Nottingham, actually. We have a live. Yeah. So
I'll look that.
Check it out. To me, that's the definitive version of the song. The album version's okay, but that live version's
That's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I don't know. I'll follow with it. One of the other things I saw, which I was quite amazed about, was that you were asked to do a soundtrack to the original 1920 silent version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
There's a company that owns theaters in Canada. They own a chain of theaters, and they frequently play old movies. They play art house movies, and they'll play old movies, right? And they had this idea to commission new soundtracks for silent films that were in public domain, and then have them play them at their theaters, but also have a live premiere where the band performs live in front of the movie, playing the soundtrack live as the movie unfolds.
Right.
And we were the third or fourth band, Canadian band, to do this. And I don't know. I think our name just came up. I think
just from shows we did,
from knowledge of what we do and who we are, and the assumption that we'd be interested in, which we were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and it went so well. We are doing another now. I don't think it's a big secret. I think we've gently mentioned it with our fan club, but we are doing another. And of course, it was supposed to be out by now, but pandemic and everything.
Exactly.
So what's the other film? What's the new film?
Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh wow, that's quite incredible.
Lots of circus music.
Yeah. Oh, I watched the trailer video that you've got on your YouTube channel, and I watched the Opium Den.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that's a next level for us. I think working on that soundtrack changed our like as a band, how we interacted with each other and our expectations of what we could do from, like, you know.
We stretched beyond what we normally do, which was an incredible experience to perform this music and interpret the scenes.
We
and try and convey that.
We learned a lot about music in general, just doing it. Yeah. In fact, Nagini went from playing just a chord here and a chord there on keyboards in our own songs to actually playing harpsichord and all this stuff. And it was amazing to watch her go from being just a theatrical performer who did a little bit of this to actually being, I would say the keys and the cello were like, I would say 60% of the weight of the film's music were on the kind of the different keyboard instruments, cello.
It was
the music in that scene. It just works so well.
Oh, thank you.
It really does. It's really good. I'd love to see. I'd love to see the whole film with the music. It just
we had it streaming a year ago for the fan club. We had an experiment. We were just seeing if it was possible to sell online tickets for things, because every band's doing this now. Of course, since a year ago, like live concert, buy a ticket and watch it streaming. And I'm not. I know that it works for some bands. I'm not totally sold on that for us, because of our concert is a different experience. It's not just us in a living room, so we can't quite do that. But we did stream the full film with the soundtrack for a ticket price, and we did okay with it. But to respect the agreement we had with the theater company, we weren't going to we can't just put it out there, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
And because they did pay for it, and their involvement with us and their faith in us is what allowed us to do like a lot of things later. It did put us a year back in terms of recording our new album, doing it.
But it still was an amazing challenge to answer, and it made us grow. And also doing different music together with each other. The flow and the trust we had just expanded even more.
Like the improvisation that we do live. So we improvise live. We don't improvise on the albums, but live, there's long theatrical moments that are highly improvised musically, and they're fantastic. And you never really get to see that unless you see us live, right? But in the soundtrack, we really capitalized on that. And then we went back to playing our regular new Jacobin Club catalog. It almost felt, this is easy.
Right.
It's very cool. I mean, I'd love to be involved in something like that. The idea of doing a soundtrack to a whole film, it's an incredible idea, and especially one so iconic. I mean, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and now Dr. Caligari. I mean, that's just such an iconic film. It's going to be It'll be fantastic to see what you can do with that. Actually,
it's already way better than what we've already rehearsed for that is, to me, is a completely different level than what we did for Jekyll and Hyde. It's going to be. I think it'll.
We're building on that.
Yeah,
that experience.
We learned so much already.
We've been given that opportunity and found it highly motivating. It's learning.
I look forward to it. So the lockdown. I know you have to broach the subject, but how did the lockdown go for you? I mean, a lot of bands I've talked to said that they spent a lot of their time writing new material and working on their production techniques and things like that. I mean, what sort of things have you been able to do?
We played Dungeons and Dragons.
That's
perfectly good, perfectly reasonable.
No, we started. See, there's a long story about how we actually last Saturday finished recording the new album.
Ah, sweet.
Oh, right.
So
right on.
We started this. I mean, there's a long story about it, and we kind of touch on it on there's one of our probably our latest blog on the website. We'll tell you the whole story, but basically it kept getting postponed. Postponed because we're doing some things with Lord Montague from New York, and we wrote some music for him, and then we did the soundtrack. Then we started recording.
Yep.
Yeah.
2019, and then our one of our dear friend, our producer engineer, had a terrible head injury. He had an accident, and he was in the hospital for almost the rest of the year. It seemed like forever, and we just didn't continue at that point. And then we started thinking, well, we should record the album. Let's figure out another way of doing it. Maybe find someone else to work with. And
but he's the best.
But he was really the guy. Yes. He's the guy that put us on the map with our last album. So we really wanted it to work because he knew us. He knew what we were good at. He knew what we were crappy at.
Yeah.
And so we finally started to record. We were about to start, and then the pandemic happened. And of course, he was considered a very high risk individual because of his head injury, and he'd had 2 head surgeries already.
Yeah.
So he was he was isolated. He was completely isolated. And then of course we finally got back at it when things improved a bit, and we've done it. We've worked at it slowly over the course of this year.
Yep.
Not pushing anyone hard, not Matt, not any of us in the band. We've gone in when we can, and we do the bits, and he works on it. And it's complete.
So good.
We're just gonna let him work on some mixing, and it can go off to mastering, and then we'll announce the release date, hopefully. But We're not worried about whether or not we can tour for it, because we don't know what's going to happen.
No, this is the problem at the moment.
Oh, sorry. For me, during the lockdown, I did some more costuming. Sort of really thought about stage as well, because I really miss live performing.
Yeah.
And I found, compared to the last album, this album, because of the circumstances, we weren't able to be as much. We did our parts in twos, in singly, or
we rehearsed in pairs too.
Exactly. So we definitely really miss each other, and any time we get to spend safely with each other. So because of the lockdown and our respective situations, we, like I say, we only gathered in very small and safe groups.
Yeah. And we did that video too. We did right last fall. We got some cool costumes out. We went out to the backyard. We got all the lights and everything, and shot a little bit of concept footage, and we put together the video for Behind the Veil. Using a lot of footage from the UK though. UK and I think Edmonton.
Yes.
And that's why that video looks like a collage of junk, because it was a collage of many years of footage, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to put something out, right? Yeah, it came together well. Yeah, nice. Yeah. And I don't remember, we shot that the night we shot that outside.
Yeah.
Remember that snowstorm we had?
Yes.
Boom! We were buried midnight, and right we got the stuff off, and then the city was shut down for 3 days. It was like, we got it into the wire.
A lot of snow.
I was going to mention Behind the Veil, because that's the newest thing you've put up.
It's an old recording though.
Yeah, but it's a very good video. I like watching it actually.
It's our live show.
It works really well. It's really good. So you got the new album finished. You don't know exactly when it's going to be coming out yet. Okay.
It will. At least it's done now. We keep telling people when we do the new album, now we can say it's done. Yeah.
And then hopefully at some point you're going to be able to do some touring.
Yes. Yeah. We would have been back to the UK this year already if things had been different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's for the future? I mean, I don't know how you work things. I've been talking to different bands. Some of them have take everything, especially after the last 2 years, they take everything sort of like a month at a time and hope that at the end of the month they'll have something to show for it. Or that some of them have got like a glorious 5-10 year plan where they say in 10 years time we're going to be headlining, whatever. Yeah. So,
I think we play the long game. I play the long game, definitely. But month to month, I'd say when the world, like under normal world conditions, we do plan month to month. But because the world is not normal, we're not
a lot more flexible.
Yeah, we're allowing time. We're saying we're going to do this. What's by what time? We're just going to do it, and when it's done, it's done.
Right.
So
gives us more opportunities to interact with the fan club and.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that.
In Facebook.
Yeah, we've been doing our own. Actually, we haven't done one this year because we were so busy with the album. Yep. We started doing our own chat show, and it started to do so well. And I think we only did it 3 or 4 times. I was like, oh my, this is incredible! Like the last one, we had like 20,000 views or whatever. And I'm like, why does everyone think this is so cool? But it was amazing, and I think a lot of the kind of album sales and financial support and merchandise sales and all that came in from our fan club came from us starting to do exactly what we're doing with you right now, but we were just doing it harder, right? Yeah. So, and I think every band should do that. You should swallow your pride, and social media is a powerful tool. You can connect with people in a way that artists of the past never could. And here it is. Use it, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. And where we are again.
Yeah, we are so far away from everyone. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You're right. Like if we were just trying to have a relationship with people in our hometown or whatever, we're done. We did that. Yeah. It does not really go any further,
That's good. Well, I hope to see you out on the tour sooner rather than later. Hope that the new album comes out relatively quickly, and good luck with everything you have coming up, and everything that you do the next 5-10 years, whatever. I like what you do because it does have that kind of that thing. You got the music, you got the theatrical kind of stage show, and it's kind of got a bit of everything for everyone. I really like it. I really do. So I just say I hope you do well with everything, and I hope to see you touring and coming over here again soon. That would be really cool.
We will.
Incredible.
We'll find you.
Yes.
Well, thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you for being on the show.
It's so good to meet you.
Thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll be seeing you again. Look out for the new Jacobin Club, for the new album. Have a look at their videos. I'll post links, as I always do, to their video channels and to their social media sites. So take a look at their stuff and give it a go, and look out for them in the future. Okay, we'll see you again. Thank you very much. Bye. Talking Music with Big Andy.